1 second. What's up, everybody? I'm Allie Burns from Picks and Parlays, and this is the Picks and Parlays Power Hour, brought to you by my sponsor, FanDuel Sportsbook. Check out FanDuel. The link is in the description of the video. Home of the no sweat first bet up to $1,000. We're talking all things football, college and pro, and I've got 3 expert handicappers from picksandparlays.net here to give you some action. We've got Craig Trapp, we've got Ross Benjamin, and Nick Parsons from the Insiders Room. We're going to kick this party off with Craig Trapp himself. How's it going, friend?
Nothing better than November when we mesh all the sports together. My favorite sports, football and basketball. And I know college basketball, close to your heart,
Yes.
close to my heart. And I think this is going to be a wild year in college basketball. I mean, throw the rankings out the window because with all the movement and the NIL money and all that, I think this is going to be an amazing year in college basketball.
I'm excited. This is good. It's my first year ever in my lifetime without Coach K. So this is a big deal for me.
You're welcome.
It's a really big deal. No, you're welcome. You're welcome.
No, because now you're going to get Duke at good numbers, most likely.
That's fair.
Yeah,
but will they be able to cover? I'm not the biggest John Shire fan that ever lived in the world, but we'll see.
I'm interested to see what he does, though. I think he's going to put his own stamp on things, and that's we saw what Hubert Davis did at North Carolina last year. First year. I mean, it didn't look exactly what, North Carolina, what we thought of in the past, yet at the end of the year was only a few points away.
Yeah. We'll see. We're going to see, and there's going to be tons and tons of free picks coming your way from picksandparlays.net. So guys, don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell for notifications. All right, let's get into some Wednesday college ball. We got Northern Illinois at Western Michigan. Michigan -1 here on their own field, and the total's 50. So how are we going to play this one, Craig?
Well, both these teams have been huge disappointments. I mean, 2-7 for NIU and Western Michigan, 3-6, and neither one of them have been good for bettors. 3-6 against the spread for Northern Illinois, and 4-5 for Western Michigan. So when you see this line at 1, probably about right, because this is like, what are you going to get from 2 bad teams? But MAC action midweek is always explosive. The games are usually way better than what the records even would suggest. And I think that's actually going to be a pretty good game, Allie. I mean, I don't know about you, but Northern Illinois, let's remember, historically, this is a really good team. Western Michigan, PJ Fleck turned this team around or this program around. Now he's gone, and now they're trying to reload. So I like Western Michigan here to get a slight, edge here. I think it's going to be an extremely good game. I wouldn't talk anybody off if you're going to Detroit Lenny, if you guys know Detroit Lenny, he loves his teasers. Same game teasers. This would be a good game. I think if you tease either team 6 or 7 points and the under, because I think the under is going to hit. I just don't think these teams are very good on offense. So I do think Western Michigan -1 is going to be the official pick, but I wouldn't talk anybody off the 6-point teaser with Western Michigan and the under.
In college basketball, I call them crisscrosses, where you take both of the teams in a teaser and you just crisscross them. Like in a pick'em, you're going to get 7 points on both sides or 6 points on both sides, and just hope that you can middle that sucker, and make it roll that way. All right, so that is your pick. Western Michigan Broncos -1 when they take on Northern Illinois on Wednesday night. Everyone, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, share. Power Hours on every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Okay, let's roll into, yes, and don't forget, text your full name, 614-810-7522. You get 2 free picks. Tell them a little more about that, Craig.
Yeah, every week it's on our text list, so we will pick a different expert, whoever's hot, and you'll get one of their free picks. Usually it's Sunday and Thursday, Sunday and Friday. It just depends on the week, but we pick out either our hottest or, second hottest, one of the top guys that has been playing recently, and then we'll give you a free pick. And then, of course, a promotion if you want to get in on more of their picks in the future.
Yes, absolutely. So text your full name to this number and jump on board. Okay, now let's cruise into the NFL. This is Thursday night action. Falcons are -3 at the Panthers. The total's 43.5. Panthers coming off a rough one to those Bengals. Now they're at home getting 3 points. What are you thinking about this one, Craig?
Well, this is 2 teams that my Bengals put it on pretty good. Both of them in Cincinnati. Of course, the first game, Atlanta, Jamar Chase went off. Against Carolina, Joe Mixon went off. So you kind of have to throw those. These are just the teams in this division are just not very good. I mean, they're good when they play each other, but when they play good teams, you can't expect much. I can't believe we're having to lay 3 points with Atlanta. I thought this would be a pick'em game, to be very honest.
Yeah.
When I look at this game, my top play is going to be on the total. So, of course, you'll be able to get that picksandparlays.net. But when I'm looking at a free play here, I'm looking at the side. I think you take the points. I think taking the points in this division has been pretty good, especially at home. I'm guessing Baker Mayfield will take over after he did come in, and he did look good in the second half against the Bengals, even though that was against some of the Bengals' second teamers. I think Baker Mayfield will be back under center. This team has shown since they traded away McCaffrey, they've been able to run the ball. And I think Atlanta is susceptible to the run. So I'm going to take as a free play Carolina. But don't forget, if you want my best pick for this game, get in on it on the total for this week.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's the way I would roll too. Give me the points at home. Like you said, two not very good teams. Let's see what can happen. And the Panthers were kind of in a spot because the Bengals were coming off that loss to the Browns where they kind of got really embarrassed. And so I mean, Bengals was my number one play last week just for that situational factor. One other thing I wanted to bring up, but I've forgotten it. So we're going to move on. Thank you so much for joining us, Craig Trapp. Everyone, don't forget, like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We're on every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, and text the number to get your free picks, 2 free picks a week from us here at Picks and Parlays. Bye, Craig. See you next time.
Take it easy.
All right, so get right back on track here. I've got Ross Benjamin coming in to talk some college football. We've got 2 college football plays and an NFL coming out of Mr. Benjamin. How's it going, friend?
It's going good. You know, NFL 10-star top plays continue to cash at a high rate, 9-1 on the season. Had Seattle and Atlanta, I think it was Sunday, over the total. So was it Seattle and Atlanta? It was a Seattle game, over the total.
Cardinals.
Cardinals, yes. Seattle, Arizona, over the total. So, you know, once the last week finishes, I wipe the slate clean in the mind and on the board. So,
yep. That's what you got to do to make money. Really forget about what you saw last week. Okay, so let's talk a little college ball here. We got Buffalo Bulls at Central Michigan. It's a pick 'em in this game. The total's 54.5. How are you going to ride?
Well, I think this is going to be your atypical textbook action game, you know, where it resembles an arena football game. I mean, Buffalo in conference play this year, averaging 34 points per game. When the total is between 51 and 59.5 this year, and Buffalo games 5-2 to the over. The Bulls defense has been torched over the last 2 games versus Toledo and Ohio, allowing 36 points per contest and 460 yards per game. Their offense over the last 4, meaning Buffalo, averaging better than 400 yards per game. So all the ingredients from Buffalo's standpoint where they're not stopping anybody and they score a lot of points and move the ball in conference play. Central Michigan 2-0 to the over in their last 2. The last 3 meetings against Buffalo, all 3 of those games have gone over the total. And this is a Central Michigan team that's allowed 33 plus points in 5 of 8 games this year. And Buffalo, they've allowed 31 or more in 5 of 9. You guessed it, Ellie. I like Buffalo and Central Michigan over 54.5 for a MAC total.
All right. I like it. I was kind of leaning towards Central Michigan, but just playing them on the money line because I'm noticing it's moving up to like a -1.5 for Central Michigan. So I kind of was looking to play the money line on CMU. Ross is going to go over the 54.5. If you're looking for his premium plays, head over to picksandparlays.net. Use that promo code NFL. And don't forget, everyone, like and subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications. We're on every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so let's keep going. Alabama -11.5 is at Ole Miss. Man, so Alabama, that happened. LSU happened to you last week. Roll tears. Total on this one is 63 and a hook. What do you got for this one, Ross?
You're too funny, Ellie. Anyway, Alabama, we got them at -11.5 going as of right now. The recent AP poll that came out this week shows Alabama number 10 with a 7-2 record, and Ole Miss number 11 at 8-1. Even though Alabama does not have the better record in this matchup, and these teams are equally rated by the AP. We have a road double-digit favorite in Alabama. So that speaks volumes to me right there because, Ellie, like I've told you on numerous occasions over the last couple of years, I trust the lines makers much more than I trust the people who vote in these polls. Now, Alabama coming off that 32-31 overtime loss, heartbreaking fashion. LSU gets a 2-point conversion in overtime. Kudos to Brian Kelly for having enough kahunas to do that. But however, since 2016, Alabama has gone 5-0 straight up in ATS following an in-season loss. And when I say in-season, I mean not a bowl game loss, not a college football loss, playoff loss, but an in-season loss. The following week, since 2016, after a loss, 5-0 straight up in ATS, winning by 24.5 points per game. I know Ole Miss has a path to the college football playoff if they win out. Easier said than done. But Alabama has not lost back-to-back games since 2013, Ellie. And here's the other thing. College football, double-digit road favorites coming off a road double-digit favorite upset loss. Like Alabama is, 8-1 against the spread since 2001. They won all 9 of those games straight up, and the average margin of victory in those 9 games, 27.2 points per game. And we talked about LSU. That's a common opponent for these two teams. We already know that Alabama got nipped at the wire last week against LSU. However, when Ole Miss went to LSU earlier this season, they suffered their only loss of the year, 45-20. So if you're somebody who hinges a little bit on common opponents, this certainly favors Alabama in that regard. I'm going to lay the points here on the road with Alabama over Ole Miss, and I know I'll be in a minority in doing so.
Yeah, it's hard not to take 11.5 on with a home team for sure. I love a good home dog, but it's a situational thing. It's kind of like when we were just talking with Craig Trapp, when the Bengals lost to the Browns, this next game was just a Bengals game. It was going to happen for them. And I feel the same way about Alabama. So good call on this one. I might even tease it down just because I'm that kind of girl, but that's how we're going to roll. Alabama minus the 11.5. Guys, don't forget, like and subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We're on every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Okay, let's move into the NFL. We got the Jags at the Chiefs. Now, I just cashed on the Titans plus 13.5. That was just way too many points. Chiefs are minus 9.5 at home. Real good home team. The Chiefs are as far as playing, but not necessarily as far as covering. Total on this one's 50 and a hook. What are we going to do here?
I'm sick of all these unders coming in. I really am. I mean, look at this year. Home teams have gone 78, 53, and 2 to the under. That's 59.5%. That's a difficult trend to continue throughout the course of the year. And I think that we're going to see, as the season progresses, a lot more overs than we've seen in the first 9 weeks of the year. But you still have to pick your spots when you go over the total. And I picked mine, and it's this one. The Jacksonville Jaguars, 4 true road games this year, 4-0 to the over in those 4 games, 52.3 points scored per game. All 4 of those games had a combined 48 points or more being scored. Jacksonville has allowed 390 yards or more 4 times this year defensively, and about to face a number 1 scoring offense in the NFL in Kansas City at 30.4 points per game, and also the number 2 in total offense, Kansas City Chiefs, at 415 yards per contest. Jacksonville, a lot of people don't realize, because they shoot themselves in the foot so many times, they're number 8 in total offense in the NFL as we speak. Wow. Kansas City is not a great defensive team. They make big plays at opportune times, but there's still, the fact remains, number 20 in total defense and number 20 in scoring defense. I like this game to go over 50.5.
All right. Over is the way that we're going to play it. I dig the Chiefs too, because again, I feel like it's one of those situational things where they kind of got punched in the mouth from Tennessee, and they definitely worked their way back into it. Luckily, Tennessee's not a huge scoring team, so it wasn't like they had to work their way back from a 30-point deficit or anything, but they did it. They got there. We're going to take it over 50.5 when the Jags play the Chiefs on Sunday. Thanks so much for joining us, Ross Benjamin. People, head over to picksandparlays.net. Use the promo code NFL. It's going to save you 20% off all of Ross Benjamin's premium plays. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications. We're on every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Thanks so much, Ross. See you next week.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to it, Allie.
Cheers. All right, one more to go. 3 picks, 1 capper. It's Nick Parsons from the Insiders Room. What's going on, Nick?
Yeah, not too much. Doing really good, Allie, in college football. We got a couple games to talk about here, but yeah, I come into this week having won 7 weeks in a row coming in, so 22-9 over that period. I think that's about 72%.
That's awesome. Head over to picksandparlays.net and jump on the Insiders Room plays. Use the promo code NFL and it'll save you 20% off. Okay, so another Wednesday game here. Kent State minus 2.5 at Bowling Green. The total on this one is a 55. What do you got for me?
Yeah, a bit of a difficult one here. Kent State is favored in this matchup. It has the lesser record here, but obviously pretty evenly matched. It's obviously, one of the best times of year when action is going on here, and this is a decent matchup here. Now, Kent State, it's 3-6 after a loss to Ball State last time out. It lost 27-20 at home, so now it would have to run the table, win its remaining 3 games just to become eligible. In the loss to Ball State last Tuesday, Kent State actually had a 13-0 first quarter lead, but they fell apart after that. Quarterback Colin Schlee, he had 183 yards passing and a touchdown. Marquez Cooper, he had 168 yards and a touchdown. But yeah, it just wasn't enough. Bowling Green, though, it's 5-4. It won last week. It wasn't pretty. It was a 13-9 win over Western Michigan. They couldn't cover the 5-point spread. Matt McDonald, he had 161 yards passing, but there truly wasn't too much more to talk about on the offensive end on that one. So you were talking a lot about motivation and situation earlier on with Craig and with Ross there. And I mean, I think we can agree both these teams are pretty equally motivated coming into this one. But I think this is a good spot for Bowling Green to earn its 6th win of the year. The Flashes, they're just 4-11 against the spread in their last 15 road games. I think they're going to struggle again here. This isn't a game that I completely love or anything. I think when you break it down carefully, though, I feel the most comfortable giving out the Green Falcons. It's hard to find, I think, too many positives for either team, but I just don't think the home field advantage can be overlooked as a very real deciding factor. I think the outright's possible, but give me the points. I'm taking the Falcons.
Definitely with the points. And the reason why, a big reason I like Bowling Green here is because Kent is 0-5 on the road. They're just not that team, so give me those points with a 3-2 home team. Let's do it all day long. Let's do it. But I agree. I don't think I would sprinkle the money line on this one. It's just one we might want to take those points and be happy with our lives here.
Something wacky is going to happen. Something wacky is going to happen.
Yes.
Yes.
I would agree. Something wacky always at wacky and
Maction, yeah.
Yeah. So let's move into UCF at Tulane. Tulane's minus a 2 here, and the total on this one's a 53. How are we going to play this one?
2 really good teams here in the AAC. Central Florida is 7-2. Tulane is 8-1. Central Florida is off the big 35-28 road win at Memphis as a 2.5-point favorite. Tulane is also off a really big win. It pulled away for the 27-13 road victory over Tulsa as a 6.5-point favorite. Now, last week, the Golden Knights, they had a 21-14 halftime lead. They carried that over into the 35-28 victory. Quarterback Mikey Keene, he only had 219 yards passing, but he did have the 3 touchdowns. And then they also got a lot of production out of their running back there, R.J. Harvey. He had a touchdown and 151 yards rushing. But Tulane, it has beaten some really good teams this year, Allie. Houston, East Carolina, Memphis. The one loss came to Southern Miss. Last week against Tulsa, Michael Pratt, he had 125 yards passing, but he had 2 touchdowns. It was Tyjae Spears. He had 157 yards rushing and a touchdown. So as I was mentioning, with a spread like this, obviously the odds makers think these teams are really evenly matched. And I think for the most part they are. They're similar in many, many respects. UCF averages 35.7 points per game. Tulane averages 32.9. They both have strong run games. But here's the clincher for me. UCF, it's just 3-9 against the spread in its last 12 following an against the spread win. And the Wave are 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 following an against the spread victory themselves. I mean, it's a coin flip really, but yeah, give me Tulane at home with the home field advantage.
Yeah, that's how I would do this too. 4-1 at home, 4-1 against the spread at home, 8-1 against the spread all together. So, I mean, that's just, something I like to follow. Are you covering? Good teams win, but great teams cover. I did cash on Tulane last weekend, so let's do it again. Minus the 2. I might just money line them for that matter. The price is right. Although I do see some 2.5s out there. So action is coming in on the green wave. All right. So everyone, don't forget, like and subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We're on every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Head over to picksandparlays.net and use the promo code NFL to save yourself 20% off the entire site. Okay. So we've got one more to go. We're going with the NFL. The Browns are at the Dolphins. Dolphins -4. Their total is 48.5. I'm just excited to hear what you have to say about this one. I really don't have too many thoughts on this one particularly. What do you got, Nick?
Well, I'm going anti-contrarian on this one. I'm going with the money on this one. I think that this is a good spot for Miami to earn a big home blowout win over Cleveland. You talked about Cleveland's big 32-13 home win over Cincinnati, but that was 2 weeks ago. Previous to that, the Browns had lost 4 straight. That was like essentially a must-win game at the time for Cleveland for it to save its season. And I guess really that's the case again this weekend. But I just have a hard time seeing them bring the same energy here on the road in this difficult road venue. Miami is now 6-3. It won in a tighter than expected 35-32 road win at the Bears. They were unable to cover the 4-point spread. But Miami, I mean, it's back on track with Tua. It's won 3 straight. After this, Miami has its bye week. So why not just lay everything on the line here against the Browns? That's what I'm expecting, obviously. The Browns, they're still injured. They have more questions than answers. They have a tough upcoming schedule. I would say a really daunting one, actually. Almost a soul-crushing schedule here, really. They have this tough game here. They have a game at Buffalo after this, and then they're at home to the Buccaneers. Miami, it's just 1-6 against the spread in its last 7. That's true. But I just think it's a bit undervalued finally here now at home against a Browns team that I think is going to struggle with consistency after its bye week. One last thing here is Cleveland. It's 1-6 against the spread in its last 7 following an against the spread victory. So, yeah, all those reasons, I think that I'm going to follow the public on this one. I like Miami to cover that short amount of points.
I just don't understand why the line is moving the way that it is. With 67% of the money on the Dolphins and 86% of the tickets, this opened at a 5.5. Now it's all the way down to 3.5 in some places. So that's a little weird to me. But I would have to agree with you. Let's go Dolphins on this one. Like I said, I don't have a great feel for this game, but I'm going to roll with you because you're the expert here and you're hot over at picksandparlays.net, where you guys should all use the promo code NFL and save 20% off the Insiders Room best bets. Until then, like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. Don't forget, we're on every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Nick Parsons, thank you so much for joining us. I'll see you on Total Chaos with the Insiders Room this Thursday night.
Thanks, Ellie.
Bye, guys.